bring in my colleague Richo. What do you think of the poll today, Graham Richardson? As we said, it's 5 weeks to go, but if you're in the Labor headquarters, as you've been over the decades, what's your sense?
Well, I think so far, if I was Albo, I'd be pretty happy. You don't expect to have an enormous lead, that wouldn't surprise him. But I think Albo would be pretty happy with what he's seen thus far. Dutton wouldn't be too unhappy either. I think Dutton's done better than a lot of people thought he would, and it'll be really interesting to see how Dutton goes in the next few weeks. If he can lift himself and go really well, then you've got to say he's an outside chance.
Yes, indeed, and part of it is because, as I discussed with Peter McGorran and Simon Banks a moment ago, Richo, it's how soft a lot of that vote is. It's not rusted on like it might have been in years gone by.
No, that's certainly true. I mean, the number of rusted on voters diminishes every year now. When I got started in the game, which is a long time ago now, you would expect that that there was 40 and 40 with 20 up for grabs. But now I think the number up for grabs is probably 40 to 60 rather than anything less.
Over the years, we've seen campaigns where you would imagine, and you and I have discussed it over the many years, that if the more voters that met a leader, the less likely they'd vote for him or her, and vice versa. There are many sort of less popular leaders that if more voters met them, they'd be more likely and inclined to vote for them. Do you think that we're seeing a scenario like that, where it's important for these two to get out there and meet as many as possible over the next 5 weeks?
I think it's really important for Dutton, more so than Albo. Albo's so well known and liked. I think likability has always been one of his features. So Dutton's got that to catch up on, because I don't think you could say likability's been anything that's been associated with Peter so far. But he's getting softer and cuddlier as days go by, so we'll have to see look at that closely over the next few weeks.
And it's certainly someone I'd put into the camp of the more that meet him, the better he's going to go, as he's a much more likeable figure than I think the public perception would suggest. And Richo, on the budget, no overwhelming sort of flood of love for the budget, but there never really is there? The idea of a budget bounce, I've never really seen a significant one over the years.
Now, look, in this instance, you were never going to see one. This is a very modest budget. There's nothing grandiose in this budget. You wouldn't say it's full of vision, because you can't afford vision at the moment. So I think Chalmers did the best he could with what he had. It was never going to be that sort of big bounce that you get if you can give away lots of goodies. Giving away lots of goodies at this point, I think, would be seen for what it is, just a grab for votes rather than anything that is going to help the economy. And I think people are more and more concerned with the economy. I think the old days, it was just, how much am I getting in my pocket? I think these days people take a broader view. A lot of people do anyway.